think of the word masterpiece, a lot of things come to mind, right? Think of something that's one of a kind, something that's irreplaceable, something that is invaluable. You just can't put a price on it. Something very unique. We don't think of the cookie cutter, easily replaceable, regular type of thing. We think of something very unique and specific. And that's exactly what God thinks of when He thinks of us. See, the Bible tells us we are God's masterpiece. In Ephesians 2:10, it says we are God's masterpiece, created new in Jesus Christ to do good things that He planned for us long ago. God created us as a masterpiece, and He created us for a purpose. And just like any masterpiece and any master artist, when you see a big masterpiece, the artist always puts their signature somewhere on it, so no one can mistake it for someone else's. That's their work of art. And just like that, God has put a signature on every single one of us that identifies that we belong to Him. He's put it deep in our hearts. We have this longing, this desire that there's something more, that we were made for some purpose, that we were made to be loved unconditionally, that we should be striving for people's love, we're supposed to have that, that's given to us freely. Why do we feel that way? Because God created us to feel that way so we can find Him, and we can find that in Him. See, Solomon, King Solomon, we hear about him in the Bible, the wisest and most, wealthy king there really ever was. People from all over the world used to come just to sit and listen to him talk. He had everything. He had everything you could desire, riches. He had a harem with thousands of women from all over the world. He had every rich, every luxury, and he wrote this book, Ecclesiastes, as his journey to find what fulfills the human heart. Because he had everything. There is surely nothing on earth there was to have that he didn't. So he was going to figure out what fulfills the human heart. And he looked at everything. People's working day and night. People toiling and saving and spending and loving and losing. And he thought to himself, after exploring everything, indulging in everything, he made this profound statement. He said he sees the burden God has placed on the human heart. God makes everything beautiful in its time, but He has set eternity in our hearts. See, that's that signature. Our soul, deep down inside of our soul, knows that we belong to Jesus, that there's a perfect love, that there is a perfect God who has done something for us, who's given us a purpose in life, who's given us a reason to be alive. Ask yourself, why would you feel like there was more to life? C.S. Lewis said, if all we knew was darkness, there would be no such thing as darkness. If we didn't have eyes, if there wasn't light, we would have no idea that we were in darkness. It would be normal. So if there wasn't a purpose for your life, why would you be striving? If there's not one person in this room who feels like there is something that we're meant to do, that life is not just existence on earth, that burning, that desire to be loved. We make so many sacrifices to feel loved. How many of us have been in a relationship where we just sacrifice everything, ourselves, our identity, just for that person to love us? We did ignore all the red flags because we were created to be loved. So isn't this what we're supposed to do? How many of us just toil at work, get up early, work so hard to prove ourselves so people can respect us, so we can get the promotion, so we can get the fame, so we can get, the reputation and make the money and buy the house? How long does that satisfaction last? Doesn't it always become the next thing, and the next thing is never good enough? They don't respect you enough, they don't appreciate the time you put in. That relationship you sacrifice everything for, they love you, but they're just not in love with you. And so the relationship ends. And that's our journey on this earth, to find value and love and purpose in anything but God. It's just the world loves us, but it's just not in love with us. And that leads us down the spiral to disappointment, to destruction, to loneliness, to hopelessness. But you see, the other thing about a masterpiece is it's incredibly valuable. Actually, it's so valuable. So many of the world's masterpieces are not even for sale. No private individual can own them. They should be displayed for the whole world to see. And that's what God values us as a masterpiece. That's why nothing can validate our worth, because nothing is good enough. What validates our worth is a perfect God coming down to earth as man and just sacrificing himself to say we are worth it, to say we have value, we are worthy, we are loved, we have a purpose, and we can only find that in him. He said, I created everything and it cost me nothing, but to win your heart, I had to be crucified, and it was worth it. Some of you right here are saying, yeah, this all sounds nice, yeah, I'm a masterpiece, great, very fluffy, but you don't know my life, you don't know what I've been through. You can't tell me that I'm going to walk out of here and feel great, I'm a masterpiece. And there's a woman who felt that same way. You know, from the age of 3 to about 15, she was abused by several men in her life. And she cried out for God to stop it and to save her, but it just never stopped. Eventually, she grew to be an adult, and she really wrestled with those dark times in her life. And she finally decided, you know what? I'm going to accept what God did for me. I'm going to believe that I'm a masterpiece. And that woman's name is Christine Kane. She's a pastor, she's an author, she is the founder of a foundation called A1 that saves and stops human trafficking. She saves women who are victims of sexual abuse and human trafficking. She puts the offenders in prison, and then she rehabilitates them and gives them a chance to live a meaningful life. If God took the broken pieces of her life and made a world change out of it, what do you think he can do with the broken pieces of your life? There was a girl in here that didn't grow up with a father to tell her that he loved her, that she was beautiful. There's a man in here that didn't have a father to show him how to be a man. There are people in here struggling with addiction that don't believe that there is something good that can come out of their life. But God died as came to earth off of his throne in heaven as a man to die, to prove to you that you are worth it, and that if he can do that for you, imagine what he can do with the broken pieces of your life.